Welcome to the weekday Cup of the Word. Today we're in chapter 3 of Matthew. Chapter 3 is all about John the Baptist. Chapter 3 begins with an explanation of who John the Baptist is and why he's there. A couple of things you need to know. Number one, John the Baptist is a fulfillment of an Old Testament prophecy. Verse 3 quotes Isaiah, and it says that John was the guy who would come before the Christ. We often talk to him as the bulldozer. His job was to make things ready for when Jesus was going to show up on the scene. John was not a lightweight. He was a heavy hitter. He spoke harsh words, and he did not turn away from a fight, verbally at least. And as you look at John, you're also going to see that John, even though he was related to Jesus, John was a cousin of Jesus. He was only 6 months older than him. Did not know that Jesus was the Messiah, that he was getting everybody excited and prepared to meet. He didn't know who it was. He just knew God told him, preach, and so he went out preaching. And as you go through Matthew chapter 3, at the very end of it, you see Jesus' baptism. And in that baptism, John saw the Spirit descend from heaven like a dove, and God speak and say, "This is my Son." And John knew in that moment, this is the guy that I've been telling everybody to get ready for. One other small thing to consider as we go through chapter 3 is verse 11 is a little bit of a tricky passage. It talks about how the Christ would baptize in fire and the Spirit. A lot of people wonder what that verse is talking about. When you go over to Acts chapter 2 and you see the apostles and they have the tongues of fire on their head and they're baptized in the Holy Spirit and they're speaking in tongues, that's a fulfillment of Christ baptizing in fire and the Holy Spirit. That's one little tricky passage that we can maybe get out of the way as we go through the study. But otherwise, chapter 3, all about John the Baptist and how excited that man was for Jesus to actually be the Christ he'd been telling everybody about. With that, that's your chapter. Happy studying, and we'll see you tomorrow.